I don't think she's gonna stay. You're not gonna stay, are you? Oh, you wanna go hang out there? Hi, hello! So today we are going to be talking about Captain Marvel, and you guys, I am so excited to talk about this film. I have waited 8 months for this film, basically since Ant-Man and the Wasp, more like actually since Infinity War. As you can see, I'm freaking stoked. I got this at Disneyland on Sunday, and it was a lot of money, but it was worth it because I'm going to use this backpack for every Disney trip and anything I ever do ever. This is going to be a video filled with spoilers right and left, so if you haven't seen Captain Marvel, please leave, but please come back when you see the movie so we can talk about it and talk about all the great goodness that was Captain Marvel. This isn't going to be like my Infinity War talk where if you've seen that, I literally sectioned out timestamps for every single thing I talked about because so many things happened and that video is like 40 minutes long or something like that. I literally have bullet points. We're getting to it. My Infinity War notes were 11 pages long. This is just a quick little note on my phone, so we're going to be fine. Yes, thank you. You are really out here stealing the spotlight, aren't you? Oh my gosh, you are ridiculous. I knew there was going to be a Stan Lee tribute going into this movie. I did not think it was going to be, I thought it was just going to be like dedicated to Stan Lee, you know? The Stan Lee credits, they basically changed the Marvel logo from what it was for the past few Marvel films. They changed the credits to being all of Stan Lee's cameos, and Captain Marvel now takes the record for the fastest Marvel film to make me cry in approximately 5 seconds. Infinity War was like an hour into the movie, and I thought, oh, nothing can top that. I was wrong. The film starts out with her. So Carol wakes up on this Kree planet, Hela, whatever, the planet, and she wakes up and she's having these nightmares, and so she goes and wakes up Jude Law's character, who for the life of me, I cannot figure out his name. I'm going to look it up. Yon-Rogg is Jude Law's character. I'm probably saying it wrong, but whatever. He's like her mentor. I think that he's going to be this like, you know, great mentor to her, like helping her learn how to control her powers and harness her powers, and we didn't realize that it was for bad, but you know, we'll get to that. If you've seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think it's season 5 when the Kree is on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we know that the Kree are bad, and also Ronan the Accuser was in this movie, and I was like, oh, hello there, friend, what's up? Haven't seen you in a while. I knew that this was already going to be an interesting timeline because Veers, as they were calling her, she was working for the Kree. So I already knew this was going to be interesting, and the Skrull were also in it, and the Skrull reviewed as bad, and I realized we were literally in the point of view of the villain, which wasn't Carol, but the society she was living in and working for was the villain. So that was what we were getting, this like timeline, and so our point of view switched with hers when she finds out who she is. So many 90s references in this movie that I loved. The first being Blockbuster, and I miss Blockbuster because there used to be a Blockbuster down the street from my house that I used to go to with my grandparents, and now it's a bank. And it's just really not fun anymore. I don't go to that bank, so. Also, when she had to wait for the dial-up internet, it was just hilarious because I vividly remember being like 6, 7, 8 and being so irritated that I could not play my games on AOL. My little typing games or whatever I played because of the dial-up internet. Earth is referred to as C-53, which is interesting because I guess are we in a different galaxy than them? I don't know. But we meet 1995, Nick Fury and Coulson, and it was so good to see Coulson on the big screen again because I have been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. since Comic-Con 2013 basically. So I've been seeing Coulson on my screen. His death in Avengers just really makes me cry every time, even though I know he's gonna be fine, but like, it still gets me. Coulson wasn't actually as big of a part in this film as I thought he was gonna be. He was really just only in it in the beginning, the first half, I think. He does play a major role when he lies and says that he hasn't seen Nick and Carol when they're in the S.H.I.E.L.D. base, but besides that, he doesn't really play a huge role. Nick Fury, and everyone calls me Fury, nothing else. And I was like, that is a huge lie. Like, if you go back in the films, I was watching Cap 2 the other day, and I think Steve referred to Fury as Nick about 5 times. So that's a huge lie. Also, Goose is gonna defeat Thanos. More on Goose later. The reunion between Carol, Maria, and Monica. So Maria is Carol's best friend, and Monica is Maria's daughter. And that friendship dynamic, that reunion dynamic was just so beautiful. Like, there's not really, sorry, I'm petting my cat. There's not really like a real way to describe it other than it being just so beautiful and so raw, and that scene, so good. Also, this is where we learn that the Skrull are actually good and they're just trying to find a home, they're just trying to seek refuge, and the Kree are trying to wipe them out because of a war, because the Kree want something because of Lawson, Dr. Lawson. So we learned that Dr. Lawson was a Kree working undercover at S.H.I.E.L.D., and then she found out something. She found out the truth about the Kree, which led her to get killed, and that's when everybody thought Carol died because she crash landed in this accident and she went to kill the energy Tesseract, basically. It was the Tesseract, and I was like, the Tesseract's here, why am I surprised? She goes to like kill the Tesseract and the power goes into her, and so then we learn that the Kree took her not because, you know, she was left alone and stranded, but because they wanted to use her and use her power for bad. So they basically used her for 6 years. Talos, that's what I call him, Talos, he's a comedic genius. The one-liners in this film are incredible. I mean, come on, they're Marvel. Like, Marvel one-liners are some of my favorite one-liners ever. Her bond with Maria's daughter is so cute, and how Monica kept her jacket and kept all these pictures of her. I was so excited to remind Carol of who she was, and how Carol called her Lieutenant Trouble, and she was like, you remembered. Oh my god, that was so cute. I was bawling my eyes out. And we just talked about Goose. Goose is incredible, and I just want to talk about how Nick Fury told Steve Rogers, the last time I trusted somebody, I lost an eye, and he was referring to a cat, a literal cat. Like, here we are since Cap 2, what was that, 2014, we've been thinking that it was this like giant war and like this giant battle that he hurt his eye. No, it was just, he was giving Goose too much affection and she wasn't having it, and she scratched him. Granted, she's also an alien cat, but you know. This cat is so freaking powerful. Goose literally swallowed the Tesseract and also killed a bunch of people because, like, when their mouth opens and then there's like the tentacles that come out, I forgot what they called in the movie, but Talos is scared of Goose and we're all laughing because we think it's funny because he's like, oh, he's just a cat. Nope, he's definitely not just a cat. And Goose ends up with Fury, and then the after credit scene where he literally has it, we think he's gonna have a hairball, and then he hairballs out the Tesseract. So now we know how the Tesseract is where it is for 2012 Avengers. So one thing that confused me about this film was the Tesseract timeline. So what we know is that Cap put the Tesseract in the water in 1943, 44, 45, I don't remember the exact year. Howard Stark pulls him out, 1946-ish, some mid-40s after World War II. Cap is frozen for 70 years, so he's frozen during Captain Marvel, and the Tesseract goes to the secret S.H.I.E.L.D. base, where Dr. Lawson ends up finding it and working on it when she comes to Earth as a secret agent for whatever, for the Kree. Dr. Lawson puts it up in space in her little base up there, which is how they find it. Goose eats it. They come back to Earth. Goose literally throws it up onto Fury's desk, and then we go into Avengers. So the last thing I want to talk about in this film is Carol basically finding her true power. So they take Carol back basically after this whole fight, and they put her in the Supreme Intelligence thing, and she literally breaks out because she takes her inhibitor off, which is what the Kree had put on her to limit her ability, and she literally didn't know that's what it was for. And she takes it off and she turns into like a star. Like, she is literally unstoppable, and she just tears them all apart and just like totally is amazing and incredible. Jude Law's character, when he realizes he's not going to beat her, he's like, oh, I'm so proud of you, like trying to take credit for her. And she's like, I don't have to prove anything to you, and sends him back up into space. Like, a queen, a literal queen. All the feminism in this movie is incredible. This might be one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time, like, to be honest. Like, it's that good. Obviously, the last thing I'm going to talk about is the ending, when Carol gives Fury the pager that we see at the end credits of Infinity War, and how the end credits of this movie, we see Steve, Nat, Bruce, Rhodey, I think Rhodey's there, and they have the pager hooked up to something, and the battery dies, and Steve's like, no, we gotta get that battery going, like, I want to know who's on the other side of the pager. They turn around and Carol's right there, and she's like, where's Fury? And then it cuts to poetic cinema. This is kind of just me ranting about all the things I liked about Captain Marvel. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the film, and we can talk about it together. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!